Hi friends, welcome back to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. I am playing tribute to the first three games, the original trilogy of Ace Attorney. And we're on my favorite case. We're kind of smack dab in the middle of it. We're about to go to trial again. Last time we were looking around, investigating, doing a little bit of that sort of thing to figure out what happened in regards to the murder case that happened at the same time as the robbery case, which we just got Ron DeLite off the hook for. But in that alibi, we now gave him what Godot called an anti-alibi for the murder of Ken Bullard, the KB security boss. So we got some information, we snooped around a little bit, and we even talked with Larry Butts, good old Larry Butts, and figured out some things that went down that night. So now it's up to us to clear Ron's name once and for all. Hey, Nick! What is it this time? You won't believe how many people are here for the trial. Well, it is a murder case. What are you talking about? They're here for the trial next door. Next door? Why don't you know this, Nick? They're having Detective Atney's trial today. Detective Atney? They say they're going to try him as Mask to Mask. Already? That was fast. Boy, I'd love to see Mask to Mask's trial. I know. By the way, where's Pearls? Oh, she went back home. She said she can't neglect her training anymore. I know you don't like me. Pearls has really gotten into her training lately, huh? Yeah, ever since that incident last year. Please don't ignore me! I love how his theme is still the Mask to Mask theme. It's great. Oh, Mr. Delight, good morning. No one likes me. No one would notice me even if I killed someone. Wow. Come on, don't be silly. Wait a sec. You don't mean you're the murderer? No, I'm just a poor thief. No, wait, that's not right. A thief can't be poor. Now let's see. According to Mr. Delight, from his second crime on, he was following a bunch of set plans. Plans that someone had been sending to him to help him commit the heists. Oh yeah, that's right, we also found out that stuff, and pretty much decided that Ron DeLite is actually Mask to Mask, because he was talking about all these crimes from these plans. Do you think there's a connection between the thief and the murder, Nick? It's possible, but today's trial is a race against the clock. Huh? How come? Let's just take our time like always. I'm afraid that's not an option. Sounds to me like Nick might have something in mind. He might be already putting the pieces together. The court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Ron DeLite. The defense is ready, Your Honor. You're ready. Preparation is the last refuge. Okay, settle down, everyone. Let's begin with your opening statement, Mr. Godot. The judge in the palm of his hands. Yet again. Ron DeLite is simply too young to be sent to war. That's all. I'm afraid I have no idea what that means, Mr. Godot. Ha. Then you need to get out more, Your Honor. Life is war. But that is exactly why you must be more precise in your wording. That's all my statement means. You understand now? Yes. Well, let me briefly summarize the details of the case. Wow, the judge is taking charge like he knows what's going on for a change. The victim is Kane Bullard. Oh, sorry, Kane Bullard, not Ken. It's been a couple days since I played the last part. I apologize. But that does mean that I'll probably want to look through the court record before jumping head first into everything, because I would have had as much, if not more, time between the parts than you guys have. CEO of KB Security. His body was found in a safe at approximately 9 a.m. on the morning of the 13th. Okay, I hate to keep looking at this, but every time that I see this image, for some reason I feel like he has reptilian eyes, but I think it's the shadow beside his nose, like right at the edge of his eyes. It's really hard to explain without being able to point to it, but I always saw his eyes open wide and with a slit of a pupil, and it's always weird. Oh, and I just realized something. I always saw that as his tongue, like he was strangled and so his tongue was sticking out, but I think that's just his bottom lip. Oh my goodness, I'm realizing so many different things. Because yeah, that thing underneath is his chin. Maybe. Oh, now I'm not sure. Maybe I was right, maybe it is his tongue. It's very strange to look at. This image has never really affected me in the way that other murder victim images from these games have, just because of how weird it looks. So apologies for keeping a nice freeze frame on that screen. I'll move on now. However, the time of death was estimated as 1 a.m. the previous day. And that's when our little lost kitten dropped the ball. Our little lost kitten is, of course, the defendant. Very well then, Mr. Godot. Please call your first witness. Coffee theme song? Yes. I never drink more than 17 cups of coffee during any given trial. But the first one is always the best. Mr. Godot, your witness. Okay, let's hear what the defendant, Mr. Rondon Wright, has to say for himself. The defendant? Well, Mr. Wright, does the defense have any objections? It may be a bit of a disadvantage having the defendant testify, but I remember when Mia was defending me. She allowed me to testify so she could do the cross-examination. She put a lot of trust in me back then. We have no objections, Your Honor. The defense will allow Mr. Delight to testify. Ha! You've got guts, right. All right, then. Mr. Ron Delight, please take the stand. Him in his elaborate costume. You didn't you? Yes. What? No, that's not true. For a moment there, I thought we'd set the record for the shortest trial ever. Well, Mr. Delight already looks plenty guilty with the face he's making. And once he opens his big mouth, he'll probably put the last nail in his own coffin. Ha, very well. Now then, can you tell me something? If you didn't kill Bullard, why did you go to KB Security? Well, it's kind of hard to say. Boy, I wish I could. Now then, let's hear some testimony about what happened. And, keep the volume up, buddy. Stop mumbling. That evening, around 1 a.m., I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office at KB Security. The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. He'd been working for KB Security about until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. Oh, that was short. 1 a.m., the exact time of the murder took place. The weak get washed away by the tides of fate. The strong drink it up. Ha! It's bitter today, too. Just like my destiny. You'd never know that from the way he's chugging it down. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. Speaking of looking through the court record, let's look through the court record. We're also going to press everything, so I'm just going to start with a poll right here. And let's take a look at our court record. We've got badge, megatamo, you know, all the usuals. The treasure exhibit, poster, Amy Faye's statue. It was moved, I guess, several times. The calling card. The camera data. The she. Now, apparently Damask knocked Atme out during the crime with this blow to the back of the head, but since Atme was the one who did it, we don't know exactly what happened with that. I don't remember whether they resolved that issue in this game. They probably do. They're usually good with that sort of closing out all the loose ends. The security camera photo. The blackmail letter, and this is the one he's talking about right now. Written with a fountain pen, found in Ron's room. It says, if you don't want your true identity revealed to the world, come to KB Security at 1 a.m. on October 12th and bring $50,000. If you don't, I'll take that red diamond you received the other day instead. Oh, I don't remember seeing that part of the letter. Huh. Alright. Then, of course, Ron's wallet, which put him at the place of the crime, at the time of the crime. And, of course, the card that was used. Here's Mask to Mask. Lovely. Was torn off some clothing in the shadow of Amy Faye's statue. And we've got our autopsy report. We learned that guard was none other than Ron. And we did learn that this did go off at the time of the crime. We got that information there once. And then we've got all of the things that the Mask to Mask stole. Oh, and then Ron's testimony. Stealing directed by blackmail. There's a sacred urn. Spelled correctly. Paint marks. Wooden box. And then we're back at the beginning again. Let me just look at this real quick, because I have... Okay, this one. Alright, cool. Alright, 1 a.m., huh? You sure? You're absolutely sure about that? Yes, that's what my watch said when I was entering the CEO's office. No. Actually, I'm not really sure. My watch was slow, and my internal clock was also... 1 a.m. That's the exact time the victim, Mr. Bullard, was murdered, correct? It's too late for a coffee date, that's for sure. Alright, tell us about the blackmail letter. It ordered you there? It was the first time I'd gotten the blackmail letter that ordered me to go somewhere. Does that mean you've gotten other blackmail letters then? Oh, of course. They'd say things like, steal this or take that. Why don't you save those for later, Mr. Delight? Please don't say any more. Now what should I do? Always press harder. So what did the blackmail letter in question say? It said to bring $50,000. Money. Perfect motive for committing murder. Oh, but wait. Wait! I never intended to pay that money anyway. Oh, is that right? After all, he had nothing to hold over my head. I had nothing to be afraid of. An important point indeed. Witness, let's have that added to your testimony. Yes, sir. Ha. A muddy mud skipper in outer space has a better chance of surviving than I do. It wasn't going to cause me trouble or anything. I feel like I should present the blackmail letter itself. Just what were you being blackmailed about anyway? The blackmail letter said if you don't want your identity revealed, correct? I'm sure it was referring to the whole mask to mask thing. And then I wasn't worried. Mr. Bullard didn't have anything on me. He didn't. Anyway, I don't care what anyone says about me. Just as long as Tessie believes in me. So that's why Mrs. Delight doesn't believe he was mask to mask. That's why I knew they were just hollow threats. Okay, so he's saying that Bullard himself didn't have anything on him. But he did have this list of things that the Mask to Mask stole. So he's... I don't know whether it wants me to talk about that, though. Let me continue pressing everything, and then we'll see where we go from there. You used to be a security chief for KP Security, right? Yes, that's right. Security chief? You? And yet, a year ago, you were fired without notice. Revenge for an old grudge. A perfect motive for murder, wouldn't you say? This isn't good. Maybe I should change the subject. I am wondering why he was fired. Mr. Delight, please tell us why you were fired from your job. Well, the word is filled with those who have said... Oh, sorry, the world is filled with those who said, I wish I had never asked that. Okay, then I take it back. Defendant, please answer the question. Well, I needed money. You needed money? Well, you see, Desi loves to spend it. It's kind of her hobby. Not exactly the best hobby in the world, huh, Nick? My salary wasn't nearly enough, so I stole data from the company. Come again. KP Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was a security team chief, I stole some data and sold it. Mr. Bullard found out, and I was fired immediately. What? I wish I'd never asked that. I was somehow able to keep it secret and made it seem like I'd quit on my own. What is it, Nick? You don't look so good. Someone who brings harm to their company is fired as punishment. You'd do well to remember that. He sure told you. So you admit that you stole data from your company, is that correct? Yes, I'm sorry. This is a very important fact. Please add it to your testimony. Oh man, this whole thing just took a big turn for the worse. Crashed and blew up. It's gonna take the jaws of life to rip this case from the clutches of disaster. Why would you do something like that? Well, for Tessie's hobby. What else? Wasting money, huh? It's not a waste! So Miss Delight doesn't know that her husband was fired, does she? So it would seem. I'm not sure what to think about couples who keep secrets like that from each other. I can't believe it. This case has gotten even Maya to think seriously about couples. Please try to stay focused, Mr. Wright. There wasn't much to his testimony, was there? Sounds like he's avoiding something. At least that's what it sounds like to me. Uh-oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. You better be careful. If we don't find a way to make him spill the beans, we'll never get closer to the truth. Yeah. Okay. That might be what he has on. Yeah. Let's see life after fired. If he'll let me ask that. Da, 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 da. No, he did not let me ask that. Cool. What are you being blackmailed about? The blackmail letter said if you don't want your identity revealed, I'm sure it was referring to the whole mask to mask thing.
Objection!
I'm afraid that reason isn't going to hold up anymore. What do you mean? Yep, that's what I thought. The victim had no proof the defendant was mask to mask, but you were the one who stole company secrets only 1 year earlier. But that was all over with once I was fired. But it is true that the fact I stole secrets was kept under wraps. Even so, there was no reason for me to pay up now, a whole year later. Is that really true? What is it, Nick? The fact that Ron was stealing company data? I wonder if he would have had a problem if that ever became public knowledge. Yep, he would. Mr. Delight, I believe you would have been in considerable trouble if your identity as a company data thief was made public. Mr. Wright, what were you trying to do by bullying your own client? Ha! Men are like colonies of bacteria. The more heat you apply, the faster they grow. I don't exactly know what that... Okay, that's exactly right, apparently. Well then, feel free to keep up the heat, my little lawyer amigo. Little lawyer amigo? Yes, now come on. Provide some evidence to back up your assertion. Why would Mr. Delight want to keep the State Ceiling secret from going public? Well, it's only what he's been mentioning the entire time. There is a particular person he did not want to find out about his... both his being fired and his data stealing. And that's Desiree. Mr. Delight, what you said just now doesn't match what you told me yesterday. What doesn't? I think you must have been scared. Very scared. Of having a certain person find out your secret. A certain person? Ms. Desiree Delight, the defendant's wife. But I... Listen to me. My Desi, she's... Looks like if I just sit back and relax, the fun will end before it truly begins. Godot. Yes, we know. It was all your wife's fault. What do you mean? Mr. Delight stole company data to pay for his wife's spending habit, for which he was fired. Unable to face his own wife, someone used his dirty little secret to blackmail him. And that is how this murder came about. No, everything is falling neatly into place for him. Don't talk about my Desi like that, or you'll be sorry. Well, it seems that we've learned a great deal of things here, so far. What do you think, Nick? I didn't think it was possible to get so thoroughly whipped in just 20 minutes. Clearly, there was sufficient motive for murder. He stole data for his wife, and he killed to protect his secret. A family man who cared just a little too much. The motive is clear. Let's move on. What happened at the crime scene at 1 in the morning, Mr. Delight? Come now, tell us. We're all ears. Sorry, buddy. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. When I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there, dead. Well, that was vague. Let's find out what he was wearing. I see, suddenly hit on the forehead, huh? I believe the detective from yesterday provided similar testimony. He said that mask to mask struck him on the head from behind. Of course, since Atney turned out to be the culprit himself, that was all a lie. Ha! No one's going to believe a pathetic lie like that. What are you saying? I really was attacked! We'll find out if what you say is true or not during the cross-examination. Got that, Mr. Trite? Don't go easy just because he's your client. If I see any sign that you are, I'll treat you to another cup of my special blend. I think that's the 3rd cup. You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Godot. I have faith in Ron. I know he didn't do it. I love Phoenix's confident stance. Heroic. Okay. Great, cool. Yeah, be more specific. That? Could you please clarify what you're referring to? Why, my mask to mask costume, of course. Wait just a moment. Mask to mask? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, I dressed up as Mask to Mask. And then I descended upon the office of the CEO of KB Security. What? Nick, did you know about this? He never told me this. I don't recall him ever mentioning it to me either. Even I didn't know that. He has thrown us all for a loop. It seems our little friend really loves to keep secrets. I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. Wait, that's not right. You know how sometimes things just slip your mind. Ha! My 6th cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly. At any rate, we can't ignore this new piece of information. Witness, please correct your testimony. Why were you dressed up as Mask to Mask? Why, because I am Mask to Mask, of course. What are you talking about? Mask to Mask's trial is being held next door. Yes, I guess so. Anyway, at that time, I thought I was being blackmailed over the Mask to Mask issue. So I thought I should go as him, just to be safe. Oh boy. Let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape. That's why it took a lot longer than I expected. Took a lot longer? What is he talking about? What do you mean by took a lot longer? Oh, opening the safe, of course. Darn it, Ron. My cape got caught on the safe door. Oh, we're dead. We're dying. We're so dead. He is not helping things. Yeah, because he moved the body, if you recall from the last part. He admitted to us that even though he didn't kill Kane Bullard, he moved his body into the safe like an idiot. Oh, Ron, I love you, but you're an idiot. Oh my gosh. This all happened when I was hiding Mr. Bullard's body. What was that? Back up a second. Yes? You were the one that hid the body in the safe. Well, yeah. Inconceivable! Drowning. Why? Just why? What reason could you have? What were you thinking? Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing machine? Smooth jazz. What? The answer is simple. When they take them off. As usual, I have no idea what you're saying. Do you mean that Mr. Delight hid the body because he's the murderer? Ha! So you're not as stupid as you look. His metaphor this time was really obscure. Mr. Wright, you don't mean that you knew about this whole safe business, do you? Well, yes. Why am I the only one not in the loop here? Witness, make sure you add this to the testimony. Yes, sir. Looks like a storm front is moving in over the fair weather judge. Took 10 minutes? Holy cow. Okay. Why did you hide the body in the safe anyway? Well, because it wouldn't fit in a drawer. That's not exactly what I meant. When I saw the corpse, I kinda lost it. I thought, if they find his corpse, they'll think I did it. Ha! I think you had a simpler reason than that. It's because you killed him. That's why you spent 10 minutes hiding the body. That certainly makes more sense. Hold on. 10 minutes? Yes, right? What is it, Nick? I just had a thought. Under those circumstances, would you normally try to hide the body? And spend 10 whole minutes to do it? Under those circumstances? What circumstances? Oh! Hey, Nick! If you think his behavior was so strange, why don't you present some evidence that would show just what the circumstances were? That's it. I'll take a look at the court record and present some evidence. I heard this from Mr. Delight yesterday. There's not much in this testimony. Bet you he's still hiding something. Okay. This, just so that you guys know, I don't know whether I mentioned this before, this, like, end of testimony banter is kind of, like, trying to guide us along with what's going on. So, you know, he's saying we have to draw it out of him, but we already drew it out of him. There's no new information here. It's just... I hope it doesn't make anything more complicated. Yeah, because we already drew it out of him, we're not affected by that end of testimony banter there. But we can talk about the circumstances that surrounded it at the time. If you recall from the last part of the game that we were playing, one of our pieces of evidence makes a very loud noise. There is no way he would just stuck around if this was going off. No, I don't think I want to present that. I think I want to present this. Yes, this. Objection! Your Honor, could you please take a look at this record? And what might this be? The record for the emergency buzzer that connects the CEO's office to security. If the button in the office is pressed, a security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed once at 1:02 a.m. What? If Mr. Ron Delight truly was the murderer, he would have ran as soon as that buzzer sounded. After all, a security guard would have been heading his way.
Objection!
Let's remember who we're dealing with here. He probably had no idea there were security personnel in the building.
Objection!
I don't think so. Up until 1 year ago, my client was working as chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them.
Objection!
But, as it turns out, the guard never came. That was nothing more than a coincidence. The fact that the guard was a pathetic loser who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity was not something Mr. Delight could have known.
Objection!
Ha! Again, remember who we're dealing with here. It's a sure bet that Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off.
Objection!
No, that's not it either. This buzzer is extremely loud. There's no way he could have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is. Conscious? What do you mean by that? Spit take? Oh, no. Fine. Let's hear your theory. Remember the defendant's testimony. The moment he entered the victim's office, someone had hacked him. Mr. Delight said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes. Unconscious? So he fainted? That's why Mr. Delight didn't know that the buzzer had sounded. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body. So, what are you trying to say? Mr. Delight was knocked out, and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it can only mean that there was another person in that room. That's right. Whoever it was knocked out Ron Delight and then pressed the buzzer. Order in the court. Mr. Wright, this is...
Objection!
This is preposterous. It was this kid. Ron Delight is the one who killed Kane Bullard.
Objection!
Then who pressed the buzzer? It was... the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button. Kane Bullard sounded the buzzer himself. What's your opinion on this, Mr. Wright? I need to prove that the real criminal was there at the scene, but how? Can you prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? I can prove it. I can prove it! The defense's opinion is this, Your Honor. This piece of evidence proves that it wasn't the victim who sounded the buzzer. I'm glad I went through all of these evidences before we got here, because the buzzer itself is proof.
Take that!
Desk slam. I believe this is the piece of incontrovertible evidence you were looking for. The emergency buzzer? Is there some kind of clue on it? Absolutely not. Hey, come on now. At least give some thought to what you say before opening your mouth. The fact that there are absolutely no clues is itself the clue. Now I'm the one who's clueless. This button has no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard had really pressed it himself, naturally he would have left his fingerprints behind. Spit take!
Objection!
Ron Delight obviously wiped them off.
Objection!
Why would he? A guard could have come in at any moment. He touched that button. I know he did.
Objection!
The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Mask to Mask. And Mask to Mask always wears gloves. What reason could he possibly have had to wipe the button free of fingerprints? Order! 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 If we've seen... I've been forced to eat crow. I wonder what blend number crow-flavored coffee is. However, if the real killer was there at the scene, why would that person press the emergency buzzer? Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves in extra danger? What's with this awkward silence all of a sudden? Ha. Looks like you're fresh out of the parlor tricks. They're on to you, Nick. Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. The real culprit killed Mr. Bullard at around 1 a.m. And Mr. Delight just happened to waltz in when the murder was taking place, right? The killer clobbered Mr. Delight and then sounded the buzzer. That scared me. Oh my gosh. Apologies to you guys. It probably scared you too. Even though security was supposed to respond right away if the buzzer was pressed, security was supposed to respond. Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say. Very well, then. Oh, you got some guts. I like that in an opponent. Why did the real killer sound the emergency buzzer? To find out what it did. I like that one. They wanted to call the security guard. Absolutely. I mean, that's what the buzzer does, after all. Killer knew that if they pressed that button, the guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted. Do you mean to say the killer called the guard on purpose? Yes. Although, as it turned out, he never showed up. Because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time. Ha. What a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in? Nah, I'm not. When that buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office. The victim, Kane Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Ron Delight, who was out cold. And the 3rd person, the real killer. Hypothetically, yes. Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in the room would be the victim and Ron Delight. And if any security guards came running in at that time, they would think that I was the murderer. Yes, that was precisely the real killer's objective. To frame Ron Delight for the murder. You know, when he spit takes, that means he agrees with me. Order, order, order! It would seem I've been made to eat my words once again. Actually, you've been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee. Mr. Wright, who was it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Wait a second. I'm the one and only Mask to Mask, so... Nick, you mean the real killer is... We're going to drag that person in here right now. But who is it? I don't have any solid proof yet. Think about it. The killer knew Mr. Delight's identity. And they also knew that he had been called to KB security that night. So the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard. Oh, sorry, that was Phoenix again. So the killer used him to craft a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard. Now then, let's hear your accusation, Mr. Rice. Who was it that framed Mr. Rondeland for the murder of Kane Bullard? Well, it could only be one person in all of this, display here.
Take that!
Detective Luke Atme. He's the only one who could have done it. Ace Detective. Luke Atme? You mean Mask to Mask did it? Your Honor, the person being tried in the court next to us is not Mask to Mask at all. He is, in actuality, the true murderer of Kane Bullard. Order! Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Theft and murder. Which is the more serious crime? They're Not even close. Murder is the more serious crime, of course. It's a capital crime subject to a capital punishment. Please remember the trial from yesterday. When Luke Atme confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom. Of course, a famous detective was unmasked as well as mask to mask. Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along. To be found guilty, Mask to Mask had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lordly Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Mask to Mask was Luke Atme's airtight, watertight, and unassailable alibi. A guilty verdict as an alibi? I love this case! It is so clever. You know, it's almost time. For what? For Luke Atme's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial, after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course, that's assuming you have proof that the detective was the one who committed the murder. Mr. Luke Atme's trial has indeed attracted the attention of the entire country. If we were to intrude and fail to provide adequate proof of his true crime, Mr. Delight would be left with no grounds for appeal. Are you sure about this? Can I prove that he did it? If I could prove that he did it, then I wouldn't need to bring him in. We would just arrest him right on the spot. Huh. But that's only good when your life's the ante. Mr. Wright, I believe in you. Mr. Light. So please, I'm begging you! Thanks, but the decision will determine the rest of your life. Can I really risk your life like this? Phoenix. What was that? Don't stray, Phoenix. You're not used to this by now? This happens every case at this point. For your client, take the path of trust. That voice, it sounds like... Mia! Your Honor, the defense requests an immediate recess. Huh. So that's your answer, huh? Yeah, because I can't prove it, and... Very well, I've decided as well. This court will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Luke Atme to the stand. Okay, so I don't have to... I was like, if I could prove it, I would do that now and not need to summon him because I could prove it. They're talking about proving it when we summon him. That makes more sense. Thank you. Yes, Your Honor. Got it. Let's do this.
Well, Sir Detective Atme.
I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly.
Oh no, Sir Detective Atme. You were the one who...
That's enough. This court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. This court finds the defendant Luke Atme.
Hold it!
Wait! Don't hand down your verdict yet, please! Well, Sir Lawyer. Welcome to my courtroom. Who's this hoser, eh? His eyes. I think it's the same animation as the other judge, but for some reason it just looks so weird. Is it? Wait, did they just discolor his entire... Like, everything that was white on him? Like, the beard and the eyes? I feel like his eyes are yellow. I think you need to see a doctor, buddy. My name is Phoenix Wright, attorney at law, and I wish to file an accusation against this man, Luke Atme.
Accusation? You accuse Mask to Mask?
That man is not Mask to Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer. What? Ooh. found out, buddy. Look at how nervous he is. It's a good sprite. The eye really digs into your soul. I love this case. Can you tell? I've only said it a million times and said that this is my favorite case a million times. We are in the home stretch. We get to talk to Luke and figure out what is the true nature of what went down with Kane Bullard. And I guess by proxy, what also went down in the basement warehouse of Lordly Taylor, because, I mean, if he was the masked unmasked down there, he still technically has an alibi, right? Find out next time. Talk to you guys then.